What if I told you that the most misunderstood generation in history is not lazy, not weak, and not confused, but deeply aware in a world that never slows down? They are called Gen Z. People say they are addicted to screens. People say they are too sensitive. People say they have no patience. But what if Gen Z is not the problem at all? What if they are simply the psychological response to a world that changed too fast? Stay with me, because once you understand this, you will never look at Gen Z the same way again. Every generation is shaped by the environment it grows up in. Some generations learned survival, some learned rebuilding, some learned independence, and some learned hustle at the cost of their peace. And then came Gen Z, growing up in a world full of noise, pressure, comparison, and constant uncertainty. Gen Z did not slowly enter the digital world. They were born inside it. From a very young age, they saw screens, social media, breaking news, global problems, and other people's lives all at once. Their minds never experienced silence the way older generations did. Life did not come to them step by step. It came all at once. That kind of environment changes how the brain works. Gen Z thinks faster, feels more, and notices things quickly. Their minds are always active, always alert. This is why they often feel anxious or overwhelmed. Not because they are careless, but because their brains rarely get a break. Gen Z also does not trust authority easily. Not because they are disrespectful, but because they grew up watching powerful people fail publicly. They saw leaders make mistakes, institutions lose credibility, and perfect images fall apart. So they learned one thing very early: titles do not matter as much as truth. Age does not matter as much as honesty. This is why Gen Z connects more with real people than perfect systems. They want honesty, emotional understanding, and transparency. They are not looking for flawless role models. They are looking for humans who admit their flaws. One of the strongest traits of Gen Z is emotional awareness. They openly talk about mental health, trauma, boundaries, and healing. Older generations often learn to stay silent and survive pain quietly. Gen Z asks questions instead. They want to understand their pain, not just ignore it. Many people call them too sensitive, but sensitivity is not weakness. It is awareness. Gen Z reacts strongly to injustice, disrespect, and emotional harm because their minds are trained to notice problems quickly. They feel deeply because they live in a world that constantly demands emotional attention. Gen Z also struggles with identity, and this confuses many people. They ask big questions very early. Who am I? What do I believe? Where do I belong? This happens because they are exposed to thousands of lifestyles, opinions, and identities every day. When the brain sees too many options, confusion comes before clarity. This is not a crisis. It is self-discovery happening in public. They also question success. They have seen hustle culture lead to burnout. They have seen fake lifestyles online and happiness disappear behind money. So they no longer chase success just to impress others. They want peace, flexibility, meaning, and freedom. They would rather live simply than live exhausted. People often say Gen Z has no attention span, but that is not true. They simply choose carefully what deserves their attention. If something feels fake or repetitive, they ignore it. If something feels real and meaningful, they can focus deeply. Their minds are not weaker. They are faster at filtering, yes. Gen Z experiences anxiety more than older generations. But look at the world they are growing up in. Economic instability, climate fear, social comparison, and constant online judgment. Anxiety is the brain reacting to uncertainty. They worry because the future feels unclear. When it comes to relationships, Gen Z wants emotional safety. They value communication, respect, and boundaries. They are careful because they have seen what unhealthy relationships can do. They love deeply, but they protect themselves too. More than anything, Gen Z searches for meaning. They want their work, their relationships, and their lives to feel human. They ask why before they ask how much. For them, purpose is not optional. It is essential. The biggest mistake society makes is comparing. Gen Z to older generations without understanding the world they inherited. Different environment creates different psychology. Old coping methods do not always work in a new reality. Gen Z is not broken. They do not need to be fixed. They are still growing, still learning, still becoming. They feel more because they know more. They question more because they see more. And they struggle more because they care more. And maybe, just maybe, this generation will heal the things others were never allowed to talk about. If this video helped you understand Gen Z even a little better, then you are already part of the change. Like this video so more people hear this message. Subscribe for real psychology explained in a real human way. And comment one word that describes how you see Gen Z now. Because understanding always comes before change.